On Thai PBS World Tonight, a recent opinion poll shows that Prime Minister Pheu Thai may not survive without the help of Thaksin, but the former leader should not have a formal position in the government. A petition seeking the dissolution of the Pheu Thai party has been submitted to the Election Commission. And Thailand aims to launch virtual banking services by next year. Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nad Wunna.
I'm Frank Kanshi.
And we'll begin tonight with what has been happening in Thai politics. So it has been a week already since Prime Minister Pheu Thai took office, but even though the cabinet lineup under the Pheu Thai administration is still up in the air, but all eyes are on Pheu Thai's performance at the moment as the new country leader and also the third Shinawat to lead the country as well. But since we're all aware that Pheu Thai Shinawat is the youngest daughter of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawat, it is undeniable for people to think that Thaksin may have been dominating Thai politics, Pheu Thai party, and also, of course, her daughter. But then there is a big question, though, as to whether she is really capable in becoming the country's leader. And there's a recent opinion poll which actually asked some of the respondents, and most of them agree that Prime Minister Pheu Thai Shinawatра's administration is unlikely to survive without the help of her father. However, they still do not want Thaksin to be given any formal position in the administration. A recent poll conducted by the National Institute of Development Administration, or NIDA, shows 59.01% of the respondents agree that the Prime Minister would not be able to run the country without her father's support. Moreover, about 15% of the respondents think it may indeed be impossible for her to lead the country without him advising her. Some people also felt that she is capable enough without Thaksin's help, while about 9% have complete faith in her capability. So you can see that most people believe that Pheu Thai may not survive if Thaksin is not there. Meanwhile, the same poll shows that about 37% of the respondents think that Thaksin should not be given any formal post in the government and should offer his advice from behind the scenes, father to daughter. And meanwhile, 26% say he should give Pheu Thai a free hand to do her own job. Undeniably, there have always been comments surrounding Pheu Thai's ability to lead Thailand. However, what is much more interesting right now is that the criticism as to whether Thaksin is actually dominating his own daughter. So Thaksin recently denied having any influence over her, and he is not dominating Pheu Thai at all. Though he did mention, though, that he can give her and her team some advice, but regardless, all of the decision-making lies with Prime Minister Pheu Thai and the cabinet ministers. Meanwhile, Thaksin gave a keynote speech last week at the Dinner Talk Vision for Thailand 2024, which was his very first public speech since his return to Thailand. He listed out a few underlying problems with the Thai economy, whether it's household debt, increasing cost of living, how industrial and agricultural technology lags behind many countries, and also, of course, the digital wallet scheme that has been much publicized by the Pheu Thai government. And because of what he said in that keynote speech, many people are actually wondering who is actually the real Prime Minister of Thailand.
This is the skepticism in general public in Thailand, right? I think people just question, as in, of course, you can see on the screen right now, this is Thaksin when he gave the keynote speech last week at the dinner talk. And he talked a lot about the economic questions, economic problems, and he also gave a lot of the solutions for those economic policies. But this is how people question, as in Pheu Thai will suitably become the prime minister, because maybe she couldn't have that capacity to tackle all these economic issues, but her father can.
Right.
So that's the issue, because actually Thaksin Shinawat at that dinner talk, he talked about how to manage the digital tokens for the digital wallet scheme. He talks about the green supply chain. He talked about the EV from China. And of course, how foreigner purchasing land. I think this is the topic that we talked about a few weeks ago, as in how foreigner could purchase land, because right now it's prohibited. But Thaksin, you know what, gave a solution to that. So I think this is the issue. This is the standpoint that some part of the general public, they see Petition, you know what, as unable to govern the country.
And even the foreign media have been reporting that Petition is widely seen as a newcomer in Thai politics, despite having a strong political background from her family, because Thaksin was, of course, the former leader. Her aunt Yingluck Shinawatra was also the former prime minister of Thailand, and now she's the third Shinawatra to become the prime minister of Thailand. Many people are wondering whether she could actually take on the job because of how many people see her as a newcomer in Thai politics, because she joined politics just right before the May elections last year, and she just became the Pheu Thai party leader and now the prime minister. Everything happened in a very short time, and many people question her abilities in becoming the prime minister, especially when she has to address several problems around her, whether it's the economic problems or even the flooding situation up north as well. How can she handle all of this, especially when she only had a business background?
Yeah, and actually, as what you said, some people, actually some critics, they compare Thaksin and his daughter, Petition. Of course, Thaksin had an excellent for his supporters. At the dinner talk, the speech was very good. But compared to Petition's inaugural speech, some people said that it's immature when it compares to, of course, her father. It's a different level.
Yeah, but one thing we have to point out was that Thaksin has been a prime minister for many years. So
and in
politics, in business. So of course he had much experience in leading the country. So he knows what are the actual problems. But what people may have noticed, especially among the critics, is that how did he actually manage to lay out all of these problems when it's supposed to be the current prime minister or at least some of the cabinet ministers talking about this?
And I believe, of course, they have think tank agency in the Pheu Thai party to giving the support. But you know, as a leader, giving that charming speech that you can compel your supporters, I think he did a good job at the dinner talk. But of course, right now the prime minister is Petition Shinawatra, and she needs to find a way to solve all those economic issues. And then you talk about the imminent flooding situation in the north. Of course, some people talk about doomsday of Move For party, and we might see another doomsday for Pheu Thai party, because of course one petition has been sent to court to dissolve Pheu Thai party. A petition has been filed with the election commission seeking the dissolution of the Pheu Thai party, alleging that it is allowing Thaksin Shinawatra as an outsider to control the party. Complaint was filed last Monday, and the petition requested anonymity. The petitioner attached the Constitutional Court's ruling of August 14th, which removed Seta Thaksin as prime minister due to his lack of integrity in appointing Petition, a longtime lawyer for the Shinawatra family, as a minister in the prime minister's office, despite him having served time in prison. The ruling also stated, without naming names, that the inclusion of Pichi in the cabinet reshuffle list was ordered by a powerful figure. It is, however, widely inferred that the powerful figure was Thaksin, father of Prime Minister Petition, who is also the leader of Pheu Thai. The petitioner claims that on several occasions, Pheu Thai has allowed a non-member to direct the party's activities. The party's core members have attached importance to Thaksin's input, and they have acknowledged his leadership role in various media interviews. Furthermore, the party's executive permitted a video clip in which Thaksin provided instructions on the duties of Pheu Thai members to be shown at this year's annual general meeting. This clearly demonstrates that Pheu Thai is allowing Thaksin, an outsider, to influence the party's activities, which contravenes the constitution's regulations on political parties. The Election Commission is therefore asked to submit the case to the Constitutional Court and to seek the dissolution of Pheu Thai. And so, of course, this is another way to crack political issues to thunderstorm or to another, thunderstorming wave. And of course, the petitioner right now already sent the petition to Election Commission. And of course, I think the petitioner and the another side has to send more evidences to the petition to the Election Commission and the court to achieve this outcome. But it takes time.
It takes time because with the case of the Move Forward Party that was dissolved and Seth Thaksin being ousted as the prime minister over the appointment of Petition, but it's actually a long process. So we'll have to find out how long it will take for this case, for the Pheu Thai party. But then regardless of the news that the petition has been submitted to the Election Commission, Thaksin actually came out just earlier today dismissing such claims, and he seemed to have brushed off the idea that someone is going to submit a petition and then demand for a dissolution of Pheu Thai party. The government chief whip also brushed off such claims as well, and he even said that the predecessors of Pheu Thai party had learned a lot of mistakes from each dissolution, so there is no way that they will make another mistake again. That is what the government chief whip said to reporters today.
And I understand, of course, Pheu Thai executives, including Petongton Shinawatra and other, you talk about the chief whip there. They want to make the wind down, the situation down a little bit. But of course, I think the other side for those petitioners, of course, they want to achieve their outcome. So they might have to wait for that because it takes maybe half a year or more than a year to achieve their goal with strong evidences. So we still have to wait for that. Let the situation go forward and we will give you analysis. And right now, let's turn the page to business. Will you choose virtual banking or physical banking in a way?
Well, I think that's a tough question right now because everyone is all about virtual banking, everything is automated, but then physical banking may be a lot easier because you get to talk to a person.
Because I think in Thai, we will say Hua Boran for me because I'm still old-fashioned in a way. Old-fashioned in a way because I still want to talk to people, talk to the staff in bank, to talk very, very detailed if I want to make any decision to change my monetary policies or anything.
But even though we have like mobile banking and we also have these apps, sometimes we still need a person to talk to, especially if something goes wrong. Because if you get to talk to a person, they will actually tell you exactly where to fix the problem. But if it's like AI or like a robot talking to you, you might get some wrong answers as well.
But while Thailand hasn't opened these such services in the country, but of course other ASEAN countries, their citizens already enjoy these services. But we might witness a pivotal moment with the first virtual banking in Thailand by 2025. Thailand's banking sector is on the cusp of a digital transformation as 5 companies and joint ventures vie to establish the country's first virtual banks. The Bank of Thailand opened applications in March and with the deadline set for September 19th. Anticipation is mounting for the June announcement of the 3 selected operators. This virtual bank will usher in a new era of financial services with the BOT ensuring that only 3 licenses are issued to maintain market stability. But right now, of course, we see 5 competitors. The first one is Siam Commercial Bank's financial arm, ACBX, has partnered with international giants WeBank from China, Kakao Bank from South Korea, and of course, a consortium formed by Gulf energy development, of course, one of the biggest energy provider in Thailand, and AIS and Thai Bank is leveraging a massive combined customer base of over 100 million users. Another one, of course, very famous group in Thailand, CP Group, Thailand's largest private company, is also in the running, backed by China's Ant Group. And of course, BTS Group Holding and Singaporean e-commerce giant Shopee is believed to be the fifth contender, but only 3 licenses will be filed by BOT. BOT's criteria are strict, requiring applicants to be public limited companies headquartered in Thailand with a registered capital of at least 5 billion baht, rising to 10 billion baht within 5 years. Successful applicants must also implement advanced IT and risk management system to ensure they are ready to operate by June 2026. Recently, I talked to the CEO of HSBC Thailand, Jojo Gemba. He told me that actually BOT's strategy, BOT's approach is very cautious, which is correct because this is what the future of Thailand's virtual banking market, which help underbanked and unbanked population to avoid unregulated markets. Listen to what he said.
Creating those virtual licenses, giving access to the underbanked and the unbanked, especially upcountry, will help reduce, in a sense, the cost of borrowing that they have. As we know, household debt is at a very high level in Thailand, and it's a big focus for everyone to try and get that down. Virtual bank licenses hopefully will be able to get some of those unbanked folks back into the frame of banking and away from some more of the expensive lenders that are out there in the consumer finance space or in the unregulated market. So I think it's a net benefit for everybody because really that household debt number is a big focus and we all hope to see it come down because that will, once that's brought under control, then it will give us a much more resilient and sustainable platform to really grow the economy. And grow the economy in a way that benefits everyone.
Yeah, and actually, Jojo Gemba talked about the public household debt is at a very high level. It's around 93 or 94% at this moment. So virtual banking could help, of course, to for those unbanked and underbanked population to, I think, manage their financial issues, manage their financial part very carefully in a way they can use the regulated virtual bank to avoid unregulated market too.
It's really interesting how many companies are jumping into virtual banking and embracing all of this new technologies to enhance the financial services. But one thing they also have to be aware of is the digital divide in Thailand at the moment, because there are still many groups of people who have no access to the internet or even a smartphone. So that would be a challenge for the financial services and also the government. How do they bridge the gap between those who have access to internet and all of these financial services, including virtual banking, and those who have no access as well? Because we want these policies or measures to be inclusive of the entire population in Thailand as well, not just the urban areas.
Yeah, not just the urban area. And you talk about a very important point. Actually, in northern part, some people, they really do not have access to mobile phones. And of course, when you use the service of virtual banking, you need to have a very good mobile, because of course, when you talk to the customer client service online, you have to use a quite good mobile or it wouldn't work at that moment. And of course, I think most of people in Thailand, because we don't have this such service now. How about the trust? Because when of course, the new service getting to the market, they need, customers, they need time to build the trust to use the service too.
Is the system and also the internet connection and building trust and how people will actually use these services as well. And you just mentioned about what happened up north. So let's turn to the flooding situation in Thailand's northern provinces. And among the areas that have been most affected is Sukhothai province. So officials and laborers in Mueang district of Sukhothai province have been working frantically to close 2 holes in an earth embankment which collapsed under the pressure of strong currents in the Yom River as runoffs from upstream Phrae flow through the province. Overflows from the river gushed into Nai Mueang sub-district in Sawankalok district through the holes in the embankment, and so far over 130 households are flooded. Emergency workers rushed to the area a few days ago to evacuate bedridden patients from their houses and to help move their belongings to high ground. Water has been leaking through other parts of the earthen embankment, which is weakening, and it has collapsed already as we have been reporting the story. And the repairing of the embankment for the time being is way too risky right now for both the men and the machinery. A village headman in Nai Mueang sub-district said the level of water in the Yom River is approaching that of 2011 when there was heavy flooding throughout the country, and Sukhothai was also hit by heavy flooding as well. The governor of Sukhothai has instructed all authorities to monitor the rising water level closely. And meanwhile, the Rural Irrigation Department plans to gradually increase the amount of water being discharged through the Chao Phraya Dam in China province from the current rate of 649 cubic meters per second to 700 to 900 cubic meters per second. And that is in line with the amount of water in upstream areas and rainfall. The department also warned people living downstream of the dam in areas not protected by flood wall to prepare for possible flooding, as the water level is expected to rise by between 40 to 80 centimeters. And so far, there have been warnings issued in 35 provinces already. The warnings of flash floods and runoffs, and most of the provinces that got these warnings are Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Mae Hong Son, Tak, Lampang, Phayao, and most of the provinces up north. There are also some in the northeast as well, and even down south also received warnings as well. So you can see that the whole flooding situation is affecting several provinces in Thailand, and it affects everywhere from up north, northeast, and it goes down south as well, because the Yom River, it goes down like here.
Yeah. I think this is not, of course, it's quite a unique situation for Thailand, but this is the raining season that we are facing with. So this is not particularly unique, spectacular for Thailand to face. So actually the Thai government, of course, in provincial authority, actually they have time to prepare. They have time to prepare since the dry season, since the hot season. Right now, since the rainy season, you can see on the screen, people, they couldn't ride their motorbike. They can only carry through that flooding area. People should be very cautious at this point. And you talk about 40 to 80 centimeters. It's quite high, though.
You can see many people are struggling already. And it is a very devastating situation for Sukhothai province and also nearby provinces that have been affected by the floods as well. But then there are questions, though, as to whether the flooding situation is as severe as what happened in 2011. But there are a few experts who think that it may not be as severe, because one of the effects came from the storms, because if you go back in 2011, Thailand was affected by 5 storms between June, July, September, and twice in October. But for this year, there are only 1 or 2 tropical storms. But we still have to be aware, though, especially during September and October, where you might expect more tropical storms coming during that time. So for that period of time, that is when all the local governments have to be on high alert.
Especially we see on the screen the dire situation that all those flooding, those water cross over the embankment, of course, some holes through the river banks too. It's a very devastating situation in north and other areas, especially Sukhothai. And it might go south for the flooding front line there. have to be very careful.
Right, and there are also warnings recently, especially for Bangkok and the 10 provinces in the central region. There is a warning that the water levels in the Chao Phraya River will increase because they have decided to increase the water discharge by 700 to 900 cubic meters during this week. And that is affected from the flooding in Sukhothai and also the water discharge in China, and it affects the whole mainstream.
In the central region.
Yes, in the central region.
So people living nearby Chao Phraya River, please take precautions measures to see if the water level will go up or not.
Right, and moving on to lighter stories. When you go to schools in Thailand, you may spot one Filipino teacher, especially in international schools or bilingual schools. But for this story, this is quite unique because today we're going to talk about an inspiring journey of this Filipino art teacher, and his name is Parker Bolanio, who has seized every opportunity in Thailand that offers to him, and he also decided to turn his dreams into reality. Let's find out more in this report.
When I got here in Thailand, I was like mesmerized with the vibrant art scene here, and like having the experience with those things. I was inspired to maybe I can be an art teacher here in Thailand.
Parker Bolanio first came to Thailand when he was 20, right after graduating in the Philippines. Fortunately, it is not difficult for Filipinos to find teaching jobs here. Today, he teaches art at an international school in Samut Prakan province.
In my own perspective, it's easy to find a job if you're already a teacher, or if you have the background in teaching, if you have the bachelor degree. It's easier for you to find a job, whether it's public school or in international school. Compared in the Philippines, Thailand offers a broader platform for you to be able to inspire and master your craft as an art teacher.
He said that the real reason he came here was for better career opportunities. Despite knowing what job he wanted to do, the pressure was immense. Parker admitted that his family had financial difficulties and his brother had to put his studies on hold for a couple of years so that Parker could finish university.
And then my parents already sold the land for me to be able to go to a different country. I mean, it was I had this pressure within me. So when I got here, and then I really have to work hard for me to be able to give back to my family, so that my brother was able to finish his studies because he already stopped for 2 years. So yeah, I mean, it was struggling part for me to work here. That was my starting point.
Having successfully combined his aspiration to be a teacher with his passion for art, Parker enjoys every moment of his life in this country.
Yeah, I mean, blessing in disguise, and also I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that this country has given to me, because I haven't gotten an experience back in the Philippines because we do have only limited resources and opportunities, and it's very competitive. Having a good job or getting a job in the Philippines, it's a big competition.
He's been in Thailand for more than half of his life. During the past 15 years, he has grown up a lot, both personally and professionally.
There is a big change in my profession. Yeah, I mean, back in the Philippines, I was this young boy, and then now being able to live here in Thailand, I was exposed to different culture. I already experienced doing a lot of things here in Bangkok, and it helps me to boost my self-esteem, and also landing a good job. Yeah, I think that's a masterpiece that you can be proud of yourself. You conquer all your fears in order for you to be able to really get the job that you really wanted.
In the next 5 or 10 years, Parker Bolanio envisions himself still living and working happily in Thailand, a place where he embraces opportunities and turns his dreams into reality.
What is really interesting, though, is that many schools in Thailand do hire Filipino teachers because of their English, and they also like to interact with students as well. So there's some sort of connection here, which I find it really interesting.
And what stand out to me actually is his inspiration, his aspiration to become an expat in Thailand, because he spent actually a lot of years in Thailand already, and he continued to carry out his dream in Thailand. And of course, Thailand is already the second home for him.
Yep, and it looks like Thailand has this large community of Filipinos, especially Filipino teachers here. So this story is definitely very inspiring indeed. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates about Thailand as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ